I'll help you. Come with me.
Cold night in Denver. A simple woman takes off her own coat to save a homeless man from death. Her husband, without hesitation, opens the doors of their home to the stranger. But that man was not who he seemed to be. He hid a secret that would change everything: an entire fortune, an inheritance without heirs, and an impossible choice. When the truth is finally revealed, the couple discovers that a simple act of kindness can change not only a life, but the destiny of generations. Get ready, because this story of faith, love, and redemption will make you believe that miracles still exist in this world. So, subscribe to the channel, leave your like and comment on where you're watching from, and let's get to the story. It was one of those bone-chilling nights, you know? The kind of cold that makes you doubt if you'll make it home in one piece. Denver was covered in snow, and the wind was blowing hard, as if it wanted to tear the skin off anyone who dared to be outside. Anna Wright, 34, her brown hair tied in a simple ponytail, hurried down the main street. Her hands trembled in the pockets of her thin coat, the only one she had, and her brown eyes were red with exhaustion. She had spent the entire day cleaning houses. 3 houses, to be exact. Her knees ached, her back ached, but the smile was still there, stubbornly on her face. Because Anna was like that. One of those people who, even when life gets tough, still finds a way to be grateful. At least I have a job, she thought, as she adjusted her bag on her shoulder. At least I have somewhere to go back to. The bus stop was 3 blocks away. Just 3 more blocks and she would be on her way home, where Michael awaited her with that warm embrace that made everything worthwhile. But then, she saw. In the middle of the sidewalk, leaning against a wall of icy bricks, was a man. An elderly gentleman. He must have been in his 70s, maybe more. Hard to say. His face was covered by a disheveled gray beard, his eyes sunken and tired, as if they had seen too much. He wore a torn coat that barely covered his thin body. His hands trembled violently and his lips, my God, his lips were almost purple from the cold. In front of him, resting between his knees, was a cardboard sign scrawled in shaky handwriting. Hungry. Any help. Anna stopped. People walked right past. They glanced sideways, looked away, quickened their pace. One woman even pulled her purse closer to her body, as if the old man were going to steal something. But Anna couldn't move. She stood there, still, looking at that man who seemed to be dying right in front of everyone. Jesus, she whispered softly, feeling her heart clench. He's going to die here. She looked at her own coat. It was all she had against the cold. If she took it off, she would freeze on the way home. But that man had nothing. Literally nothing. Anna closed her eyes for a second, took a deep breath, and made her decision. Without thinking twice, she took the coat off her shoulders and felt the icy wind hit her body like a knife. She walked over to the old man and, crouching beside him, placed the coat over her trembling shoulders. "Sir," she said softly, lightly touching his arm. "You can't stay here. You'll freeze to death." The man slowly raised his eyes. They were blue eyes, faded by time, but still with a gleam deep inside. He stared at her with a mixture of surprise and distrust. I have nowhere to go." His voice came out hoarse, almost a whisper. "Now you have it," Anna replied firmly, extending her hand. "Come with me." "Young lady, I can't accept this. You don't even know me." "So what?" Anna gave a tired smile. "Do you think God needs an introduction for us to do the right thing?" The old man remained silent, processing those words. Slowly, very slowly, he accepted her hand and stood up. His knees ached. His whole body ached. But there was something about that woman. Something that made him trust her. Anna took his arm and started walking. The cold now bit her skin mercilessly, but she didn't care. Or rather, she tried not to care. Just a little more, she thought, Just a little more and we'll be home." 20 minutes later, they stopped in front of a small, simple house in a working-class neighborhood of Denver. The paint on the door was peeling, the garden modest, but there was light in the windows. Warm, yellowish light that promised coziness. Anna opened the door and called out, "Michael, honey, I'm home." From inside the room came a tall man, about 36 years old, with dark hair and broad shoulders like someone who works with their hands. Michael Wright was a mechanic, one of those who come home with grease under their fingernails and a smile on their face. But when he saw the scene, Anna shivering with cold and an unknown old man beside her, he stopped in the middle of the room. "Anna." "What?" "Michael," she said in a firm but sweet voice. "I found him in the street. He's freezing. I couldn't leave him." Michael looked at the old man, then he looked at his wife. And then something happened. Instead of questioning, instead of doubting, he simply smiled. That broad smile, full of kindness, that was his trademark. "If you brought him, it's because God wanted it," Michael said, opening his arms. "Welcome, sir. This house is small, but there's room for everyone." The old man stood motionless and unable to believe what he was hearing. How long had it been since someone had treated him like a human being? Come on," Michael motioned. "I'll prepare a hot bath. Anna, grab some of my clothes." "I'm coming," she replied, running to her room while rubbing her arms, trying to warm them up. The old man was led to the bathroom. The hot shower water cascaded over him like a divine blessing. He closed his eyes and, for the first time in months, felt he was still human. When he stepped out, he found clean clothes folded in the sink, sweatpants, a flannel shirt, and thick socks. When he entered the room, the smell of food filled his nostrils. Anna was in the kitchen finishing preparing dinner. Michael placed 3 plates on the table and gestured for the old man to sit down. "Oh, it's nothing special," Michael said. "Roast chicken, rice, beans, and salad. But it's made with love." The 3 sat down. Michael took Anna's and the old man's hands and closed his eyes. "Lord Jesus, thank you for this food, for this house, and for bringing this man to us. May he feel at home, because here he is safe. Amen. Amen," Anna repeated softly. The old man couldn't speak. He just squeezed Michael's hand, feeling a lump in his throat. They ate in silence for a few minutes. But then, the old man couldn't stand it anymore. He put his fork down on his plate and looked at the two of them. "Why are you doing this?" His voice came out choked. "You don't even know me. I could be anyone. I could be dangerous." Michael stopped chewing, wiped his mouth with the napkin, and looked him straight in the eyes. "Do you want to know the truth?" Michael asked calmly. "It's because Jesus taught us to do this, to love our neighbor. It doesn't matter who they are, where they come from, what they've done. We don't judge, we love. It's that simple." Anna nodded, her eyes shining. "My father always said, Anna, when you help someone, don't ask their name, ask what they need." And that's what I saw him do his whole life. The old man lowered his eyes, feeling something break inside him, something that had been hard, frozen for years. He swallowed hard and murmured, "You don't know how much this means." "We don't need to know," Anna replied softly. "We just need to do it." That night, after dinner, Michael prepared the living room sofa with blankets and pillows. The old man lay down there, enveloped in warmth, security, and for the first time in a long time, love. He looked at the ceiling, listening to the soft sound of Anna and Michael talking in the bedroom, laughing about something simple, and felt tears stream down his face. Who are these people? He thought. How can they be so pure? And that night, as the snow continued to fall outside, blanketing Denver in its white mantle, something began to change. Not just in the old man's heart, but in the destiny of them all. Morning arrived with a pleasant silence, the kind of silence that only exists after a snowstorm. when the world seems to have been covered by a blanket of peace. The first rays of sunlight streamed through the living room window, illuminating the face of the old man who was still fast asleep on the sofa. He hadn't slept like that in, how long? Years, perhaps decades. In the kitchen, Anna and Michael were already awake. She was making coffee while he was cutting fruit to make pancakes, those simple pancakes that fill the house with a wonderful smell. The two chatted quietly, laughing at silly things, with the intimacy of people who have known each other forever. "I think he's still sleeping," Anna whispered, looking towards the living room. "Let the man rest," Michael replied as he stirred the dough. "Judging by how he was yesterday, he hasn't slept properly in a long time." "I know. I just keep thinking, does he have family? Is anyone looking for him?" Michael stopped what he was doing and looked at his wife with that tender gaze. "Anna, what do you want me to say? That you shouldn't have brought him?" "No," she replied quickly. I just wish I could do more." "You're already doing it," he said, holding her hand, much more than most would. At that moment, a hoarse voice came from the room. "Good morning." The two turned around. The old man was standing, leaning against the doorframe, wearing those borrowed clothes that were too big for him. But his face was different. Still tired, still marked by time. But there was something new there. A light in his eyes, a spark of hope. "Good morning, sir." Anna smiled broadly. "Did you sleep well?" "I slept," his voice faltered slightly. "I slept like I haven't slept in a long time." He cleared his throat. "I'm sorry for barging into your house like this." "Invaded?" Michael chuckled. "You were invited. Come, sit here. The coffee's almost ready." They sat down at the table. Anna served hot coffee, orange juice, and the still steaming pancakes with honey. The old man looked at the food, then at the two of them, and back at the food again. You do this every day?" he asked. "What to do?" Michael asked, while chewing. "That's it. Breakfast together, laughing, singing, as if the world were perfect." Anna and Michael exchanged a look. She gave a sad smile. "The world isn't perfect, sir," Anna said softly. "We both know that. Michael works hard in the garage. I clean houses all day. We can barely pay the bills at the end of the month. But," she took her husband's hand, "we have each other. We have faith, and that's more than many people have." "Faith." The old man repeated the word as if it were something strange. "It's been a long time since I've truly heard that word." "So it's time to listen again," Michael said in his usual simple way. "Look, I don't know what you've been through. I don't know what brought you to that sidewalk yesterday, but I do know one thing. God doesn't leave anyone alone. Sometimes we just need to open our eyes to see that He's there, using other people to take care of us." The old man fell silent, stirring his coffee slowly. His eyes began to well up with tears. He took a deep breath as if about to jump off a cliff and said, "I need to tell you something." Anna and Michael stopped eating and looked at him intently. "My name is Richard," he began, his voice trembling. "Richard Holden. And I'm not who you think I am." "What do you mean?" Anna asked, confused. Richard wiped away the tears that were beginning to fall. "I own one of the largest construction companies in Denver, Holden Constructions. Maybe you've heard of it." Michael's eyes widened. Anna dropped her fork onto her plate with a dry thud. "What?" she whispered. I know it sounds crazy," Richard continued quickly. "But it's true. I have money. Lots of money. Houses, cars, everything anyone could want, but I have no one." His voice broke. "My wife died 10 years ago. We never had children. My brothers only come around when they want something. The employees respect me out of fear, not love. I've spent my whole life building an empire and living alone in it." Anna brought her hand to her mouth, her eyes wide, Michael was paralyzed. 6 months ago, Richard continued, I decided to conduct a test. I wanted to know if there were still good people in this world, people who would help without expecting anything in return. So I dressed as a beggar and went to the streets. I spent nights in the cold, asked for help, held up that sign. Do you know how many people stopped to truly help me? Silence. None, Richard said, his voice heavy with sadness. Some threw coins, others looked at me with pity, but nobody treated me like a human being. Until yesterday. Until you, Anna. He looked straight at her. You took off your own coat in the middle of that blizzard. You took me to your home. You gave me food, shelter, dignity, without asking my name, without wanting anything in return. Tears now streamed freely down Richard's face. And you, Michael, you welcomed me as if I were family. You prayed for me. You invited me to sit at your table. Anna was crying too, unable to speak. Michael's eyes were red, and he was struggling to maintain his composure. I'm 73 years old, Richard continued. I don't have much time left. And I've spent the last few months wondering who I'm going to leave everything I've built to. I don't want it to go to people who only care about money. I want to leave it to those who know what really matters. He paused, took a deep breath, and said, I want to leave it to you. What? Anna and Michael said at the same time, standing up from their chairs. No. Michael shook his head vigorously. Mr. Richard, this is madness. We didn't do anything expecting a reward. I know. Richard interrupted, smiling through his tears. That's precisely why you deserve it. You didn't do it expecting anything. And that's exactly why I want to give you everything. Anna was trembling. But we don't even know how to run a company. We're just ordinary people, Mr. Richard. You know what matters. Richard stood up from his chair and took both of their hands. You know how to love. You know how to care. You know how to see people. That's much more important than any diploma or experience. The rest we can teach. Michael and Anna looked at each other, completely bewildered. Was this real? Was this really happening? I'm not asking for an answer right now, Richard said softly. But I want you to think about it. And while you're thinking, I want you to let me do one thing. I want to work with you. I want to learn from you. I want to understand how two people with so little can have so much joy. Mr. Richard, Anna could barely speak. We're nothing special. We just try to live the way Jesus taught. And that's exactly it, Richard smiled. That makes you the most special people I've ever met. At that moment, there in that humble kitchen, while the coffee cooled and the pancakes grew cold, 3 lives intertwined in a way none of them could ever have imagined. A billionaire who had everything and felt empty. A couple who had almost nothing and overflowed with love. And a morning that would change everything forever. Outside, the snow continued to fall, covering Denver with its white blanket. But inside, in the warmth of that simple house, something much greater was happening. Something that would prove, once again, that God never abandons those who trust in Him, and that sometimes miracles arrive disguised as beggars on a winter night. The days that followed were surreal. Richard returned to his home, a huge mansion on the outskirts of Denver, but now everything was different. He called Anna and Michael every day, visited them, brought food, and talked for hours. And little by little, very slowly, he began to introduce his business to them. At first, Michael was nervous. Richard, I know how to fix car engines, but I don't know anything about construction, he would say, laughing, but with genuine nervousness. You know how to treat people with respect, Richard would always reply. That's 90% of the job. I teach the rest. And he taught him. For 3 months, Richard took Michael to visit the construction sites, the meetings, the projects. He introduced him to the managers, the engineers, the workers. And one thing became clear right away. Michael had a gift. He talked to the workers, asked about their families, and genuinely cared. Within a few weeks, the workers loved him. Anna, in turn, began working in the administrative office. At first, she was terrified. Richard, I barely finished high school. But she discovered she had an incredible ability to organize things, solve problems, and above all, take care of employees. She created a support program for struggling families, a medical emergency fund, and even started organizing community lunches at the company. "You're transforming this company," Richard would always say, with tears in his eyes. "You're bringing humanity to a place I'd let grow cold." But life, as always, has its own plans. One spring morning, Richard woke up feeling a strange pain in his chest. He went to the doctor. The diagnosis came like a bombshell: advanced cancer. The doctors gave him 6 months, maybe less. When Richard told Anna and Michael, it was late afternoon, sitting on the porch of their house. Yes, he still preferred being there to the mansion. Anna wept copiously. Michael held his friend's hand tightly and said, his voice choked with emotion, "We're going to cherish every second." And they enjoyed it. Those last few months were intense, profound, full of love. Richard taught them everything he knew about business, but more than that, he finally understood what it meant to have a family. Dinners at the table, silly laughs, prayers before bed. He even went to church with them, something he hadn't done since his wife died. "You know, Michael," Richard said one of those nights, as the three watched the sunset, "I've spent my whole life chasing success. I've built buildings, won awards, accumulated money, but only now, here with you all, have I discovered what it truly means to live." "It's because you're living with purpose," Michael replied. "And purpose isn't in what we build out there. It's in what we build in here," he said, patting his chest. One afternoon in August, Richard called the two of them to a meeting in his office. He was thinner, weaker, but his eyes still shone. "I want you to sign some papers," he said with a tired smile. "Richard, you know we don't care about that," Anna began, but he raised his hand. "I know, but I care. I need you to understand. Everything I have now belongs to you. The company, the properties, the accounts, everything. But it's not just money I'm leaving behind." He pulled a letter from a drawer. "I wrote this for you. I want you to read it after I'm gone." "Richard, don't talk like that," Anna cried. "Everything is all right." He held her hand. "I'm at peace. For the first time in a long time, I'm at peace." 3 weeks later, on a quiet morning, Richard Holden passed away in his sleep. Anna and Michael were by his side, holding his hands, praying softly. His last breath was accompanied by a gentle smile on his face. At the funeral, the church was packed. Hundreds of people came: businessmen, workers, people from all walks of life. But the one who gave the main speech was Michael. With a choked voice, he said, "Richard Holden wasn't just a successful businessman. He was a man who learned that true wealth isn't measured in numbers, but in lives touched. He taught us that it's never too late to change. It's never too late to love, and it's never too late to find God." Michael paused, wiping away tears. "And he made me promise one thing, that we would use everything he left us to continue doing good, and that's what we're going to do." And they kept their promise. Anna and Michael took over the company, but they didn't change who they were. They continued living in the same humble house, renovated, but still simple. They created social programs within the company, paid fair wages, and treated everyone with dignity. But the biggest change came when they decided to completely renovate the church where they met, that small, dilapidated church. They transformed it into a beautiful community center, with space for worship services, free meals, and shelter for the homeless. On the day of the inauguration, Anna was standing in front of the building, looking at the sign that read, "Richard Holden Community Center, where love and hope have a home." She turned to Michael and said, "Do you think he would be proud?" Michael hugged her and whispered, "I think he's smiling down from up there." That night, as they served the first dinner at the new shelter, Anna looked around and saw smiling faces, people eating warm food, children playing, and she remembered that cold night when it all began. That decision to stop and help. "Michael," she called softly. "Try. Can you believe it all started with a coat?" Michael smiled, took her hand, and said, "No, love. It started with a heart willing to love." And there, in that vibrant community center, they understood the truth Richard had spent his entire life searching for. True wealth lies not in what is accumulated, but in what is shared. It lies not in what is built of concrete, but in what is built of love. And that a simple act of kindness, a single gesture of compassion, can change not just one life, but the destiny of generations. Years later, when Anna and Michael were asked what their secret was, what magic made everything work out, they always answered the same thing. There was no magic involved. There was only faith. Faith in God, faith in people, and faith that doing good is always worthwhile. Always. And every time the snow fell in Denver, covering the streets with its white blanket, Anna would look out the window and whisper a prayer of gratitude. Because she knew that God works in mysterious ways, and that sometimes, in the most difficult moments, when we think we have nothing left to give, that's exactly when miracles happen. All we need to do is stop, look, and love. The rest? God will take care of the rest. This story reminds us that life's greatest gifts don't come wrapped in pretty paper. They come disguised as opportunities to love. Anna and Michael didn't know that that cold night would change everything. They only knew they couldn't let a human being die of cold. And it was this simplicity, this purity of heart, that opened the gates of heaven for them. True wealth isn't in what we keep, but in what we share. It's not in the size of the house, but in the size of the heart. And when we act with genuine love, without expecting anything in return, God performs miracles we can't even imagine. If this story touched your heart, leave a like, comment what you thought, and subscribe to the channel to keep hearing stories that will make you believe that goodness still exists in this world. Because it does, and it starts with you.